Hello guys, welcome back. In the last lecture, we worked on generating the work experience model and associated it with the user model. Now in this lecture, we will write validations for some attributes of work experience model. So open the work experience model first. So switch to the project directory and open the work experience model from app models. Okay, and here in work experience models, you can see that we just have an association defined with the user model. Okay, now we need to write our associations here. Okay, sorry, the validations here. But what we will validate here, so we will first validate the company, start date, employment type, location type, and job title attributes. Okay, all these attributes must be present and cannot be null. Okay, so let's add the validations here. So you can use validates. Okay, and then provide the attribute names here that you want to validate. Okay, so first is company, then start date, then employment type, then job title. Okay, since our line goes very long, so you can write it here. Okay, like location and location type. Location type, and all these attributes must be present. Okay, so Rails provide a presence true validation check for us, so we can use presence true. Okay, and to make sure that you cannot submit an attributes value as empty. Okay, that's why we use presence true validation rule here. Okay, and we can leave the description attribute as optional. Okay, let me show you the schema.rb first. Okay, so here you can see that we have few more attributes like description as well. So we can leave the description attribute as optional, as this is up to users if they want to provide this specific detail for their work experience or not. Okay, now save the model file. Okay, so commit and come to the work experience model and save it. Now it's time to test whether these validation are working or not. Okay, since we do not have any UI or any form for creating a new work experience, so we will test this through the Rails console. So first switch to the terminal. Okay, switch to the terminal, and in the new terminal tab, what you need to do, run the Rails console. Okay, and in the Rails console we need to instantiate a work experience model class. Okay, so we can use we dot work experience dot new. Okay, now we will use, first we will check that whether this instance is valid or not. So Rails provide a valid question mark method here. Okay, so you can use question we dot valid. Okay, this method will check whether this instance is valid or not. Okay, I mean all the validations are getting passed for this instance or not. If the instance is valid, it this method will return true. If it is not valid, then it will return false. So this always returns the boolean output whenever you call the valid method. Okay, so now run this command we.valid, and you will see false in the result. Why? Because we just instantiated an empty work experience model instance. Here you can see we did not provide any value here. So to check what errors it is having, so you can use we.errors dot messages. Okay, and when you run this, you can see that user must exist, company can't be blank, start date can't be blank, employment type can't be blank, job title can't be blank, location can't be blank, and location type can't be blank. Okay, here you can see one thing, that we did not provided user, we did not edit any validation for the user here. But since Rails 5, what happens that if you defined an association without optional true argument, you Rails always make sure that the parent ID must be present for the child model. Okay, since work experience is our child model, so we need to provide the user ID as well when we create a work experience. Okay, so now we need to pass this validation. Okay, so what we can do, we can again instantiate the work experience model, but this time we need to provide some values. For example, let's say user ID, and you can provide user.last.id. Okay, and then what you need to do, provide the company name here. So you can provide company and add some value here, let's say some company, and then add start date, and you can add start date like date dot today plus 3 dot years. This will set the start date 3 years from now. Okay, I mean 3 years ago from now. Okay, and then what you need to provide, employment type, You can add, let's say, full time here. Okay, and then job title. Let's add senior software engineer. And then location, let's say Indore, India. And location type, again, let's say hybrid. Okay, it could be remote, work from office, on site, or work from home as well. Okay, and now after providing value for all the attributes for which we added validations, let's instantiate our new work experience model instance. So when you submit this, and now you can see that we have values for this work experience instance. That start date is 9 June 2026. Okay, sorry, I just set it plus 3 years. You can set it like minus 3 years. But anyway, just we just need to check the validation, so we can skip that. And you can see that we have validate value for job title, value for employment type, location type, and company name as well. And also we provided the user ID as well. Okay, and since these are the only validations we added into our work experience model, now if you check whether this work experience instance is valid or not, so you can check we.valid at the question mark here, and you will see that it is returning true. Now if you see we.errors.messages, you will see an empty array. Here you can see, so all our validations get passed. That means the validation rules we added into the work experience model are working fine. And this is how validation works in Rails. Now you can see that we did not add any validation for the end date and currently working here attribute. Here you can see in the schema.rb that we have few more attributes like end date and currently working here. And we did not added any validation for these attributes. Okay, we will add validation for these attributes in the next lecture, because it needs some custom and conditional validations to be added. But at very basic but to an important mark, we saw how to add validations provided by Rails. And here we only used presence to validation rule, but you can use other rules as well, like validating the uniqueness of attributes, numericality of attributes, inclusion in some given list of values for any model attribute name, and so on. It all depends upon your requirements and needs. Okay, and based on your requirements, you need to choose the suitable validation rule. Okay, and that's all from this lecture. Try this lecture at your end, and we will meet into the next lecture. Till then, tata, goodbye, take care, and stay safe.